If you have ever felt misunderstood, isolated, or quietly resisted, not because you were weak, but because you saw too clearly, then this video will explain the invisible war being fought against your mind. Today, we uncover why society fears your intelligence and how that fear shapes your destiny. Power does not fear weapons. Power fears awareness. Throughout history, kings were overthrown not by armies, but by ideas. Empires did not fall because their enemies were strong, but because someone inside the walls began to see clearly. This is the truth that every system understands and never admits. The most dangerous force on earth is not rebellion, it is intelligence. When a highly intelligent individual enters a society, the balance shifts. Not loudly, not violently, quietly, subtly. Like poison in the bloodstream of authority, they do not need to shout, they do not need to protest, they observe, they analyze. They understand. And the moment they understand, power begins to weaken. Because power survives on illusion, every system of control is built upon a carefully designed story about success, obedience, morality, loyalty, happiness, normality, failure, and reward. The average mind accepts this story because it is easier than questioning it. The intelligent mind does the opposite. It dissects the narrative. It asks where it came from. It asks who benefits. It asks what happens if the story is false. These questions are fatal to power. The intelligent individual does not obey the structure. They see the structure. They notice how rules change depending on who is watching. They see how truth is negotiated, not discovered. They see how institutions preach virtue while practicing survival. They recognize that the world is not governed by justice, but by leverage. And once these realizations take root, obedience becomes impossible. This is why society reacts defensively to intelligent people, not openly, subconsciously. Employers feel uncomfortable. Teachers become threatened. Leaders grow suspicious. Even friends begin to feel unsettled. The intelligent person does nothing aggressive. They simply see too much. Power requires participation. Intelligence withdraws consent. The moment someone no longer believes the script, the performance weakens. Highly intelligent individuals are unpredictable because they are not programmable. They do not respond to the same incentives. They do not fear the same threats. They do not chase the same rewards. And that makes them uncontrollable. Control systems rely on patterns, predictable behavior, repetition, routine. The intelligent individual disrupts all of it. They adapt too fast. They learn too quickly. They anticipate consequences before others feel them. This makes authority nervous, because authority survives only when it stays ahead of the population's awareness. Every hierarchy knows this: governments, corporations, religions, families, schools, social groups, even relationships. Wherever there is power, there is an unspoken rule. Never allow someone to understand the game better than those who run it. That is why history treats thinkers as threats long before they become heroes. Socrates was executed for corrupting the youth with thought. Galileo was silenced for revealing the sky. Tesla was buried for disrupting energy. Da Vinci was watched for knowing too much. Machiavelli himself was exiled for describing power too honestly. Intelligence does not ask for permission. It simply arrives. And once it does, it exposes the machinery behind the curtain. The truly intelligent person recognizes that authority is not sacred. It is constructed. They understand that leadership is often theater, that morality is often branding, that tradition is often convenience. They see the fear beneath the confidence of those in charge. They see the insecurity behind titles. They see the chaos behind order. And nothing terrifies power more than being seen clearly. This is why systems do not attack intelligence directly. They undermine it socially. They label it arrogance. They call it overthinking. They mock it as impractical. They accuse it of disloyalty. They isolate it as dangerous. Because once intelligence becomes admired, power becomes negotiable. So society creates a subtle contract: be smart, but not too smart. Ask questions, but not the wrong ones. Think freely, but not where it matters. Highly intelligent individuals break this contract instinctively. They do not merely live inside the system, they observe it from above. They recognize that most people are not choosing their lives, but inheriting them. They understand that power is not maintained through strength, but through belief. And once belief fades, Authority collapses without a single battle. This is why power fears intelligence more than any enemy. Not because intelligent people are violent, but because they are impossible to govern once they understand how the world truly works. Control is the oldest ambition of civilization. From the moment human beings gathered into tribes, someone sought to command the direction of the group. And the group agreed, not because the leader was always wise, but because certainty is more comfortable than freedom. Society has been built upon this unspoken trade. The many surrender independent thought in exchange for structure, safety, and belonging. Most people accept this without resistance. The highly intelligent do not. An intelligent mind does not submit automatically. It examines before it obeys. It pauses where others follow. It notices when rules contradict reality. It asks questions that make rooms uncomfortable. And once that mind recognizes the nature of control, it becomes almost impossible to manage. Systems of authority depend on routine obedience. Schools train it, workplaces reward it, cultures glorify it. Families pass it down. By adulthood, most people respond to command without realizing it. They chase approval, fear disapproval, and mistake conformity for morality. The intelligent individual feels this pressure, but does not internalize it. They sense the invisible hands shaping behavior, and that awareness itself becomes an act of rebellion. This is why intelligent people are described as difficult, rebellious, strange, uncooperative, complicated, intimidating, or unstable. These labels are not descriptions of their character. They are symptoms of a system failing to dominate them. A mind that cannot be controlled destabilizes the social order. When one person stops reacting as expected, the system must adapt. When many do, the system begins to crack. The intelligent individual does not move through life on autopilot. They notice contradictions in politics, education, religion, tradition, and relationships. They see how authority often hides behind complexity. They observe how fear is used to enforce loyalty. They recognize how reward systems manipulate behavior. They understand how language itself is shaped to guide thought. Once these patterns become visible, the individual is no longer easily influenced. Power structures fear such minds because they operate beyond predictable incentives. Threats lose their strength. Promises lose their shine. Social pressure loses its grip. The intelligent person is no longer motivated by the same currency's approval, status, security, routine, belonging. They seek coherence, understanding, autonomy, and truth. These values cannot be purchased or threatened. Control works best on the unconscious. Intelligence awakens consciousness. The awakened mind does not accept the world as it is presented. It dissects what it is told. It observes how narratives are manufactured. It understands how public opinion is shaped. It recognizes when emotions are being engineered. It sees through the performance of leadership and the theater of institutions. Once the performance is visible, the illusion dissolves. And when illusion dissolves, obedience weakens. Society depends on shared illusions to function. That the system is fair, that authority is competent, that leaders are moral, that rules are neutral, that success is deserved, that failure is personal. The intelligent individual examines each of these assumptions and often finds them hollow. This is why they feel detached from the crowd. They are not rejecting society. They are no longer hypnotized by it. Uncontrollable minds introduce instability. They inspire others to question. They reveal hidden contradictions. They expose vulnerabilities. They challenge traditions that no longer serve any purpose, except maintaining power. This is why societies throughout history have attempted to regulate thought through censorship, education, propaganda, social pressure, and ridicule. Control of the mind has always been more valuable than control of the body. Yet the intelligent mind resists this more fiercely than any force. It adapts. It learns. It evolves. It recognizes patterns across time and context. It anticipates manipulation. It detects lies. It notices when fear is being manufactured. It understands when conflict is being engineered. And because it understands, it does not comply. This creates tension wherever the intelligent individual goes. In families, they challenge inherited beliefs. In schools, they disrupt standard instruction. In workplaces, they question authority. In social circles, they refuse shallow agreement. Their very presence becomes disruptive, not because they seek conflict, but because their consciousness refuses sleep. Control fails when awareness rises. Society responds by attempting to isolate these minds, to pressure them into silence, to exhaust them into compliance, to frame them as unstable, arrogant, or antisocial. The goal is not to defeat intelligence, but to make it lonely enough that it chooses conformity for survival. But the intelligent individual knows something most never realize. Freedom begins in the mind, and once it is claimed, it cannot be confiscated. Society does not run on truth, it runs on comfort. Comfort is the glue that holds civilization together. People tolerate injustice, corruption, inequality, and deception not because they are blind, but because confronting these realities would shatter the emotional stability of their lives. Most human beings do not fear being lied to. They fear discovering that their lives are built upon lies. The highly intelligent individual does not seek comfort. They seek clarity. And clarity is a threat to every structure that depends on illusion. Truth does not arrive gently. It dismantles identities, relationships, careers, beliefs, and loyalties. It forces people to confront the distance between what they were told and what actually is. For most, this confrontation is unbearable. It is easier to protect the story than to face its collapse. This is why society resists truth wherever it appears. The intelligent person carries truth not as a weapon, but as a consequence of perception. They notice inconsistencies in political promises, moral performances, corporate narratives, educational systems, social hierarchies, and cultural traditions. They recognize that many institutions survive not because they are good, but because they are familiar. They see how injustice is normalized through repetition. They understand that corruption does not hide, it blends. When such awareness enters a room, discomfort follows. Truth creates tension, it disrupts conversations. It interrupts routines. It forces people to question their choices. It exposes compromises they would rather forget. And because most people organize their lives around emotional stability, they react to truth, not with gratitude, but with hostility. The intelligent individual becomes the mirror everyone avoids. They reflect back what society works so hard to ignore, that success is often arbitrary, that failure is often engineered, that morality is often selective, that justice is often performative, that freedom is often symbolic, that happiness is often staged. This is why intelligent people are frequently labeled pessimistic, negative, cynical, or detached. Not because they see the world worse than others, but because they see it without the filters that make it tolerable. Truth threatens social cohesion. When too many people become aware, collective obedience weakens, questioning spreads, doubt multiplies, loyalty erodes. The system loses its grip not through revolution, but through awareness. Every powerful institution understands this danger. That is why truth is controlled, packaged, delayed, censored, softened, framed, and sometimes buried. What people are allowed to know is carefully calculated. What they are encouraged to forget is equally strategic. The intelligent individual bypasses this process. They connect information others never link. They observe patterns across time and context. They recognize propaganda in the language of news, politics, advertising, and culture. They notice how fear is manufactured, how desire is engineered, how attention is manipulated, how outrage is scheduled, how loyalty is conditioned. And once they see it, they cannot unsee it. This awareness isolates them. They begin to feel like strangers in familiar places. Conversations feel hollow. Traditions feel artificial. Authority feels theatrical. They realize that most people are not living consciously, but performing roles handed to them by culture, history, and expectation. When they try to share what they see, resistance appears. Friends become uncomfortable, colleagues withdraw. Institutions push back, not because the truth is wrong, but because it is destabilizing. Truth does not promise happiness. It promises freedom. And freedom is frightening to those who depend on the security of illusions. The intelligent individual learns this early. Revealing truth does not make one popular. It makes one dangerous. Society treats truth tellers with suspicion because truth cannot be negotiated. It cannot be bribed. It cannot be controlled once it spreads. It reshapes priorities, values, loyalties, and identities. It dissolves old structures and forces new ones to emerge. That is why intelligent people often walk alone. not because they reject society, but because they cannot participate in a performance they see too clearly. Truth strips away the comfort of belonging, the warmth of certainty, the ease of conformity. It replaces them with awareness, responsibility, and independence. Most people choose comfort. The intelligent individual accepts the cost of clarity. And that choice quietly terrifies the world around them. Every society claims to admire genius, but history reveals a far darker truth: the crowd does not love great minds, it hunts them. The moment an individual begins to think beyond the boundaries of accepted belief, they become a threat to the emotional order of the group. The crowd survives through sameness. It moves through shared opinions, shared fears, shared values, shared illusions. The intelligent individual disrupts this harmony by existing differently. Their presence forces comparison. Their thoughts force reflection. Their independence exposes the fragility of conformity. This is why the crowd reacts with hostility long before it understands why. Great minds unsettle people not through words alone, but through what they represent. They embody the possibility of freedom. They reveal that another way of thinking, living, and perceiving is possible. And that realization makes the crowd uncomfortable, because it confronts them with the life they did not choose. Most people protect their identity fiercely. Their beliefs, routines, careers, relationships, and worldviews form the foundation of their sense of self. When an intelligent individual challenges those foundations, even silently, the crowd feels attacked, not intellectually but emotionally. The reaction is rarely rational, it is instinctive. Ridicule becomes the first weapon. Mockery follows, then exclusion, then distortion. The crowd rewrites the intelligent individual's character to justify its rejection. They are labeled arrogant, unstable, dangerous, selfish, cold, strange, or immoral. These labels serve one purpose: to protect the emotional comfort of the group by discrediting the one who disrupts it. The intelligent individual becomes a mirror the crowd cannot bear to look into. History is filled with these scenes. The philosopher silenced, the scientist ignored, the innovator ridiculed, the reformer imprisoned, the thinker exiled, the artist starved. Only after their death does society declare admiration, when the threat has passed and their ideas can no longer disrupt the existing order. The crowd does not oppose intelligence because it is wrong. It opposes it because it reveals too much. Great minds operate at a level the crowd cannot easily follow. They see long-term consequences where others see immediate reward. They recognize patterns where others see chaos. They question motives where others accept explanations. This creates distance, and distance breeds suspicion. The crowd values belonging over understanding, agreement over truth, stability over growth. The intelligent individual values coherence, clarity, autonomy, and insight. These values collide. When the intelligent individual refuses to participate in the collective illusions of the group, they threaten the emotional economy that keeps everyone comfortable. Their refusal to pretend forces others to confront the possibility that their lives are built on borrowed beliefs and unexamined choices. That realization is painful, so the crowd chooses the easier path: destroy the messenger. Social rejection is not accidental, it is strategic. The crowd isolates the intelligent individual to preserve its own coherence. By pushing the thinker to the margins, the group protects its emotional structure. The exile of the mind becomes a form of social self-defense. Yet this process never truly succeeds. Because while the crowd may control social space, it cannot control reality. The ideas introduced by great minds continue to spread, quietly, invisibly, through conversations, writings, inventions, philosophies, movements, technologies, and cultural shifts. The crowd resists them first, adopts them later, and forgets its resistance altogether. The intelligent individual often lives in contradiction, rejected in their time, revered in memory. They endure isolation not because they seek it, but because the crowd has no place for those who do not fit the mold. Their loneliness is not a failure of character, but evidence of perception. The crowd fears great minds because great minds reveal that the world could be different. That power could be questioned. That tradition could be rewritten. That obedience could be optional. That freedom could be real. And once a person sees that possibility, they cannot unsee it. This is why great minds always walk a difficult path. They are not fighting the crowd, they are outgrowing it. And the crowd senses the loss of control long before it understands the cause. Now you understand the war that has always existed and will never be announced. Society fears highly intelligent individuals because they threaten every system built on illusion, obedience, comfort, and conformity. Intelligence weakens power by exposing its mechanics. It resists control by awakening the mind. It endangers comfort by revealing truth. It becomes the enemy of the crowd by embodying freedom. This is not theory. It is history repeating itself in every generation. If you have ever felt isolated, misunderstood, quietly resisted, or subtly opposed, it was not because you were flawed. It was because your awareness was incompatible with the structure surrounding you. You were not designed for a world that depends on unconscious participation. Power will always fear what it cannot dominate. The crowd will always reject what it cannot imitate. Comfort will always resist what it cannot explain. And yet, progress has never come from the comfortable, the obedient, or the silent. It has always come from those who saw too clearly, thought too deeply, and refused to sleep inside the stories they were given. This is the burden and the privilege of intelligence. To see the world as it is, to walk alone when necessary, to remain awake while others dream, to choose truth over belonging, to choose awareness over approval, to choose freedom over comfort, because in the end, the most dangerous person in any society is not the one who rebels with violence. It is the one who understands how the world truly works.